Hey traders, welcome to another crypto market update. Deleted a few alts here. I took away Litecoin. If someone would like me to do an analysis on Litecoin, that's not a problem, but it's very similar to BTC and might as well just trade BTC because that is going to be the market leader anyways. But we still have XRP, BNB, Cardano, which we may take off, and then EOS, Ethereum, and Link. Might be taking Cardano away actually, but we'll start off with XRP BNB and then we'll do our normal rounds here. So we'll just stuck within the consolidation because it is going to be a similar structure as BTC, and it'll break in a similar way as BTC. So we'll just talk about the market structure here. We do have a zone, a mid-range zone that we currently are working with right here. And then we have a support, but we kind of have two supports here where we have our initial support, which is this right here, but then we also have a secondary support, which the price could definitely hit, which is our lower half right here. So like BTC, we see the anchor point at the top, and we see lower high squeezing the price towards the apex. The price pushed to the upside, but not very high. XRP only really went to this high here, and then it broke down from lower lows and lower highs, had a little bit of a pullback, resisted and held the previous high right here, and then now it's pulling back, coming back down to the lows here. So as time goes on, I think these alts are getting to look like more of a buy than a sell because the price is nearing their area of support. If we are able to get the price to come back to a key area of resistance, then obviously we have a higher probability and a better chance of getting a nice short to push the price down. But as we get closer and closer to the support, we have a less ideal risk-reward situation. So at this point in time, I am going to be patient and see if the price is either going to be pushing down to these lows or coming back up for a potential opportunity. But XRP doesn't look like something that, for me, is worth trading at this moment. So I'm just going to see, got another trend line here. So we did draw another trend line, but it unfortunately got taken out. So this is that new trend line that we are going to be drawing. Got three areas. We got our first zone, second zone, and this is our third rejection area. We did draw it from the top of the wick and then down to where we were initially shorting, but it popped up and then now it's broken down, basically hit our take profit. So little unlucky because we were basically in that trade. Just broke to the upside, broke our resistance, hit our stop loss, and then slammed down, and this was our take profit right around here. So it's unfortunate, but what can you do? This was our entry right around here. Moved up and pushed to the downside, made a lower low. Thought this could hold as a lower high. Could not hold, pushed up, and then we got taken out. So not really going to be doing anything for XRP at this point in time. Going on to the next pair, BNB. This pair is something that we are looking to potentially trade if we do get some downside momentum. We see that. Let's get our anchor, or let's get our picture here. Just discuss what we're able to find. So we have our anchor point at the low right here, and then we have our first touch point, and then we have our second, and then we have our third. So at this point, we have four validations of the zone, making it a dependable zone. We are now getting our fifth reaction to this zone right now. It does look like we are potentially going to see a break on the 1 hour, 15, 5 minute. This trend line is not extremely well defined, meaning that there's a lot of wicks poking down below the area, but on the 4 hour, it's well defined because we see a type A, a type A, a type B, a type A. So all of them are well respected on the 4 hour, but looking at it at the 5 minute, it is a little less respected. So now we're just going to quickly talk about what we see within the 5 minute within this little pullback and where the ascending trend line is in relation to the smaller time frames. So This is that horizontal resistance right around here. So we can see that's that horizontal resistance, like so. And then we have this ascending trend line. So we're holding some lower highs. I don't love that wick at the top there. So we're holding on the 15-minute chart while holding lower highs, which is good. And we're getting a squeeze in price. I think entering before we break is too premature, in my personal opinion. And it would make more sense to patiently wait until we get a higher probability opportunity when we do break this resistance zone, which would be right around here. So when we do break that zone, that for me would be a higher probability situation. We do also have this zone right here. So we might get a push, hit that zone and a pullback, and then retest some level here. So we will have to assess the situation around this area. I don't really love the not perfectly respected ascending trend line. So then we can have a little bit of a movement here. So we'll have to see what this consolidation is. I don't want to enter just randomly. I want to really understand the consolidation before we look to enter. But BNB paired with USDT is definitely something that we are going to keep our eyes on for a downside move with the ascending trend line, and then market structure lower low. Actually, let's just talk about volume because we haven't really talked about volume. So what I see is on the 4-hour, we see decreasing buy volume. Well, now we did see a decent amount right here, but from initially this amount of volume right here, which was the high, and then we saw less buy volume, and then we saw significantly less buy volume. And we are somewhat seeing that with the sell volume here as well, but we do see it's a little bit of a ramp up here from the lows. We're seeing a little bit of an increase. Kind of even, but we will discuss in the smaller time frames here. Got a little bit of a not really a no demand on any of these major candles, and then not really any no supply on any of the down candles. So it's not looking bad. It's looking, in terms of the price action, great. In terms of the VSA, nothing crazy. We do see that there is a high volume on this candle right here, showing that this is a zone of sensitivity, which definitely has been in the past, which makes sense. And we see at the highs here. So the $20 range is definitely a key zone for BNB, as we can see within the volume. Now we're looking like we're cracking below our ascending support here. So we'll see how it goes. If we get another push to the upside here, we'll be able to get our zone of confluence a little tighter because we have our descending major trend line, which is this guy right here. So we'll see if the price is able to push up a little bit higher. And if it is, then we'll be able to get that nice entry. So those are the two opportunities for those alts. We will not be trading them right now. We will be waiting until we have a better opportunity on our hands. And then EOS is going to be the next pair. Don't really see anything too particular. Just going to take this away and that away. So we just have our ascending trend line. This ascending trend line is pretty well respected, as we can see. And then we do have a descending resistance as well. So this is that descending resistance. We see our anchor point right here. First touch point, second touch point. And let's just see if we can potentially get something with this anchor point. Maybe something like this. You know, it might work a little better if we do go here. Let's just check on the 4-hour, because sometimes the 4-hour does provide better. Not really. I don't really see any other trend line than the current one we are able to identify, which we can pretty easily see on the 1-hour time frame. So we are making some higher lows here. Let's just go back to the 4-hour and discuss what we're seeing right now in the markets. We're holding this level of support, and if BTC does break, I think that we could drop kind of to our next level of sensitivity here. Got a pretty big gap here, very well-defined ranges that we're currently working with. So this is currently the market structure that we're wanting to see break. If it does break this higher low structure, we will look to short this. And also just looking at the small time frames there, we could consider that zone as well. So we got a nice squeeze here within the price. And EOS does look like a decent opportunity for us to be looking for both short and long, but I think this is a little bit more of a short opportunity here, considering BTC is looking like it's a little bit more bearish. So let's just refine this a little bit more, like so. And then that support as well, we'll refine this so it's right on the wick, and then both of the tools that we're using are right at the zone there. So we got our nice tight squeeze, and we will wait until it breaks. If it breaks to the downside, also I think what we will do is just close that and define this zone a little bit more clear. I think this is definitely a zone right here. So we do want to understand our key zones that we're working with. So that's our first zone, and we also have another zone at the lows right here. We also have another zone at this point right here. In my personal opinion, we could also put one right there, but I'm gonna personally put mine just right there. So we'll see if the price is able to break either support or resistance. We could put one there as well. I think I am going to put one right there as well. So might look a little bit messy, hopefully not too much. On the 15-minute, it might look a little bit more clean, like we can see. So just from zone to zone, it's around 3.5%. Which is nothing crazy, but it's definitely a move in which we could capture some great risk rewards, because if we're able to risk maybe 1% or 1.5, that'd be a pretty solid risk reward on our hands. So we'll see how the price is looking when it does break and pull back, because that is what we're looking for. So at this point in time, we're just seeing the squeeze continue, and we are looking for an entry either to the upside or downside. If we break to the downside and pull back at this zone of confluence, we'll definitely be looking to enter with a short bias first level take profit here. And if we're able to get a second level take profit, might be at the $3.34 range or something, because that'd be a pretty good risk reward. But we'll see how the volume is if it does come to that point. But first, we obviously need to have an entry signal, which we don't have yet. So EOS is looking like a good opportunity. We got some clear zones that we're respecting, so I'm liking the look of EOS right now. Almost a little more than BNB actually, and XRP is not really a trade that we're looking at right at this moment for really a long or short. So we got Ethereum and Link to go next. We'll end off with Link, so we'll start off this section with Ethereum. So we'll go off on the 4-hour, and then we'll move into the 1-hour time frames. It's a very similar structure to Bitcoin that we see within Ethereum. We see a resistance right here, as we can see, and then we see our supports hold multiple times. So we see there's a strong level of support. So right now, we're in a ranging market, bouncing from support to resistance. Now what we're currently seeing in the market is the price come back down toward the lows, which is great. Now we're seeing lower highs, and hopefully we can create some sort of descending trend line to get a squeeze, very similar to what we saw last time. We saw a same squeeze, and this area right here is where we're looking to enter on the smaller time frames to get that push to the upside, to capitalize on that high probability situation. So we are still short bias, but as we get closer to our support area, we can't have a great risk reward, because our reward is going to be this zone, unless we're going to expect the price is going to push down below this area, which in my opinion, you are giving yourself a higher probability of failure. So it makes sense to continue the consolidation, and if we do see the market structure break and form a lower low, then you're looking for a pullback, lower high formation, and that's when you have a higher probability of being right. So at this point, we're just forming a consolidation on Ethereum. We're coming to our lows at around 216 of the support. So then if we're able to see a descending trend line, yet again, like we saw here, and then on the smaller time frames, get a nice little entry at this point. We're going from that entry to our take profit area. Now let's go on the 1 hour, and then I think the 15-minute might be a better opportunity, but this is the range that we're looking to enter, but at this zone here. So let's draw in our potential trend line that we can identify, which is this zone right around here on the 1 hour chart. We can see our anchor point. We see our first interaction pretty close to it with a type A, and then we get a type B, and then a type A. And then I will also draw in a projection in there as well, like so. So we're just currently holding this zone up. Easy to understand, and I'll just bring this out here. There we go. So we got our key descending trend line, and we're slowly coming to a point where we're going to get a squeeze. We're currently holding a level of support, which we can see was a previous level of resistance in the past. And we could get a little bit move up here to a resistance zone, 1.5%. Not really worth it, but let's just talk about market structure in the 1 hour. So we are patiently waiting for this to break, for this move to occur, but somewhere over here. In the meantime, we could look at some potential market structure opportunities. For example, the one I'm looking at right now is we made a low right here. If we make another low and hold it, we could see the price push up to the previous level of support, which would be a new level of resistance in confluence with our descending trend line, creating a double confirmation that there's sell pressure within the area. Overall, we see more volume distribution, meaning that there's more sell pressure within the market. So on the smaller time frame, like the 5 minute, we could potentially be looking for an opportunity somewhere around here, or a little bit higher, somewhere around here, depending on how far the price goes and how it's looking, and where the shift could be happening. But overall, that's one potential, but the opportunity would basically be from here. First take profit would be at this support, and if it breaks, you'd have your second take profit at these lows, and your third take profit is at the key level of support. So if that comes, that would be an opportunity to enter. Not looking to enter anything here, not looking to enter anything here, unless we see something like this, where you have some higher lows holding the price up, squeezing the price closer to the descending trend line, and then maybe if we get our next rejection point right there with an ascending trend line connecting the higher lows, then you get a little push to the downside. You might get a pullback, and you get another test of that zone. You could play a little bit with the volatility in there, with trading a little bit heavier, and then actually making some money. If you're risking like 0.5%, you just maybe leverage twice, so then you're risking 1% of your account, or something along the lines of that. But that is basically the trade. If we do dump to the downside, we do have a pretty strong level of support because initially of the descending trend line, previous level of resistance, initial support, we could see it hold yet again because we do have a zone of confluence where we've held this zone before. So around 216 is where we could have support hold, and then we might come back and retest this zone here. So might see something here for an entry, but that would be pretty counter trend trading, to be completely honest. And for me, it makes sense to look more just for shorts because we are coming into the consolidation phase, the pullback phase, where we're seeing consolidation and attempts to push, consolidation and attempts to push. So within the consolidation, you want to be shorting, and within the pushes, you want to be longing. So right now, we're still on the consolidation, the downtrend. So it makes sense to short. We don't want to go counter trend trading too much because obviously it is a less probability, and it just makes more sense to trade with the trend. So the trend's downward, so we're basically looking for shorts. So basically the only way we're wanting to enter is that, or we continue the break, pull back, resistance there, first, second take profit. Something along the lines of that. So if that comes, that's great. If not, we are not going to enter. Basically, we have a few options, a few set strategies, game plans that the price could be holding. And if it is able to create those ideas and bring them into fruition, obviously we're going to be looking to enter because that's fantastic. But if not, we're not going to enter. So this buy zone is the key structural demand area, or sorry, supply area that we've seen on the weekly here. As we can see, candle closure right at that area, and then a pullback at that zone. So for me, that's a key level of support that we're currently holding. On the 4-hour, major zone of demand. Look how much volume that is. It was more buy volume than seemingly almost any other time in 2019, or I guess in the summer of 2019 we had more volume, but it's been a while. So it just shows you how much demand and volume is at that zone. So if we do get the price to come back to the $3.40-ish range, definitely going to be in level of interest that we're going to be potentially seeing right there. But in terms of mid-range zones, we got 3.8 as a mid-range zone. We got 4.1 and 4.34. Currently very at the high here on the 4-hour chart. We did get a pretty significant rejection on the 4 hours. So I think we could see, depending on BTC, a little bit of bearish volume coming in. We do see that BTC is holding its zone here. We're just having a dynamic trend line. We're not looking to enter just yet, obviously, but we're just checking out the potential for kind of the staircase pattern that we're seeing. The structure, we're seeing a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and a potential lower low that's going to drive the price because confidence is getting taken from the bulls from this little push, and now getting more for the sellers that are taking more of the confidence here. So we'll see if we break this $8,600 zone, we'll get a large shift, and the sellers are going to just take a significant shot at making a strong aggressive push to the downside, and we'll see if the buyers are able to hold it, or if the confidence and conviction from the sellers is just too strong and they're able to hold it there. If they're able to hold it there, obviously that's going to be a lot of strength for the bears. So we'll see how it goes. Getting back to Link. So this is a pretty major rejection, this candle right here. We see it had a lot of volume attached to it. I'm just going to get some coffee here. Had a lot of volume attached to it, and then it was a pretty solid rejection with the wick coming up and then came right back down. So on the 1 hour time frame, that is the market structure high. So right now, the market structure is currently like so. So this means in order for the market structure to shift, in order for us to think about any shorts, we need this zone to break. So I'm going to take this away right now and just put some zones like so. Maybe just a couple zones. But in order for us to be looking for shorts, we need this zone to break and form a lower low, because this is a current low. This is a current low that it's holding, and we need the market structure to form a lower low, and then if you're looking to short, would want to enter on the lower high, because you do see sellers are in the market. That is a no demand candle because it's significantly less demand than the previous candles that we've seen in the past, with strong buy volume coming, and then we got rejected, and then the complete lack of demand, as we can see within this candle. Very significant no supply on this candle as well, with a strong bearish engulfing candle afterwards. And then the next candle, although we don't have a tremendous amount of volume and transactions coming in, we do see that it was a bearish engulfing candle, signaling that there is sellers in the market. So, you know, could look at head and shoulders. In my opinion, this, let's get our head and shoulders. I think it's in this one. Yep. So this is what I'm talking about for head and shoulders. We see the left shoulder, the head, and this could be the nice right shoulder, and then we get a push to the downside. And if that's the case, you could be looking at an entry, you know, because this no demand theoretically could be the entry signal, especially because you got a high pushed. But if you're wanting to see full confirmation of market structure and all the things we're looking for, you're wanting to see a market structure lower low form breaking this $4.64 range, and then you want to see the lower high come in, resisting to go higher than this $4.60 range, confirming previous market support, new market resistance, price action confirmation, head and shoulders, VSA confirmation. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of sellers on the way down, and then on the way up, even a no demand on the retest would be the validation to enter. And then you'd put your stop loss just above this high here. And then you got your first take profit right there, 2 to 1. You got your second take profit right around here, probably 3.5. And then I don't think you'd want to take your chances beyond this, because that's a 5 risk reward, which is quite a significant area. So we'll see how far Bitcoin moves here, but that is a potential opportunity that I'm able to identify. Now, Link is a phenomenal long, just looking at the price action, because we've seen it rally so fast, but we've also seen it drop aggressively as well. So there are opportunities within the market that are able to provide us with some good solid trades. And Link is at an all-time high. So obviously, looking at different alts within the market, this is not beaten down at all. Whereas if you look at other pairs, you know, XRP right here, shorting all the way here, look at where we have a major level of support. Compared to on Link, we're basically at the all-time high. We have a ton of room to go down. We're at an all-time high. So just psychologically speaking, that makes sense. A lot of people either bought right when the price broke the zone, and it just makes sense that if people are going to sell, they're going to try to sell at the top. So then if Bitcoin goes down, market sentiment is going to decrease. It's going to become more bearish. So then people are going to be less optimistic, not just for Bitcoin, but for many of the alts as well, including probably Link. So if market sentiment does go down, if the things we are thinking are going to come to fruition and actually see the price go down, we're looking at EOS. Link is an opportunity for a short, and what we're going to do is, if we do get an entry on Link, we're going to try to get that stop loss to break even. Obviously, we're trying to give room for the price to breathe, but we are trying to move that stop loss to break even, because in the longer term, we are in still somewhat of an uptrend. We can see 2019 is a very strong uptrend. This is still could be potentially higher low, and if we break this descending trend line, obviously we're in a major move towards the upside. Link is very bullish. We're counter trend trading on the 1 hour chart if we are shorting Link, but it does make sense in my opinion, because BTC still has a decent amount to go, and if we do break the support here, then we're going to be looking very bearish. And looking, even if we just hit our first or second take profit levels, we're looking at 5 to 10% maybe, even if we get that strong push to the downside. For a minimum, if we are looking at a minimum, I think our minimum, let's just look here, for a risk reward, it'd be around, let's say, 8% for our swing trade. So that's not so bad. But we do have to have that confirmation of the downside, lower low, and then we're going to enter on the lower high. If we don't get that, we are not going to enter. Don't really see anything for a long here. We could, I do see a descending zone on a smaller time frame on the 5-minute. Like so, which isn't perfect, but it works. You got a anchor point and you got a first rejection, and then you got a second zone right there. So yeah, that does work for me for a zone. So if we hold below that and start trending down, that's an option. But at this point in time, we just have to wait and see. I will update everyone within the Performante Premium members list about any trades that I will be entering. But at this point in time, we are being patient and not entering just yet. While BTC broke to the upside above our trend line. Definitely a little bit more bullish. So I'm going to close this off, and then what I'm going to do is have a crypto market live trading session, because those I put on for many hours, just seeing if I get a trade or if I don't, and if not, then I have just content of me making commentary of the psychology behind, I guess, a trader, which is helpful in itself. But that is basically the end of this video. If you have any questions, please drop a comment and we'll be sure to answer it. And if you haven't already, definitely check out our Discord. And if you are already here, we only got one more person watching here. We should have actually talked about it first initially. But we currently have a coupon code, a limited amount of a coupon code that is offering 75% off, meaning it's $15 for the first month for our Performante Premium subscription service. So thank you very much for watching on YouTube. We will continue the YouTube live, so if you're on our YouTube and would like to continue the live session, hop on TikTok and we'll be there. So until next time, thank you very much for watching.